Hello, guys. My name is Chance, and you are currently listening to A Chance to Strive. So basically, last time we had a lot of Q&As, and there was a lot of like questions regarding sexual assault. And for me, and how serious I kind of take certain things like that, I couldn't rush it over. I really wanted for it to be one of those days where it's like, I bet I'm getting back into it. I'm responding to everybody and everything like that. But it just wasn't. It just didn't make the most sense for me to go over something that's that important and that, I don't know what the right word to use, but that's sensitive, I guess I'd say. Yeah, for something to be that sensitive and me just quickly going over it, I just don't think it's something it just didn't feel right, honestly. The more I started speaking, the more I realized it's like there's so much you should say to somebody like that that's dealing with things like that. So I felt for her, and the fact that she reached out to me and asked me all those questions. And that's the thing. I told you guys, like, I pretty much told her towards the end of the episode, that episode was dedicated to you. And she ended up being very grateful for it. She reached out. She said both her and her friends were dealing with that. And I broke down how certain things could happen for somebody that was dealing with that. And this is the thing about I'm saying. It's like, learn as much as you can and learn to make connections for yourself, because it also makes you a better person to help other people when you're capable of tapping into different perspectives, even if you haven't had that experience yet. So for me, it's like there were things I was describing and she was like, yeah, this is exactly what's happening to her. And she's like, she's taking your advice. She's going to try it. And I'm not coming here saying, oh, I'm special, I'm important, I'm making people better. I promise you that's really not my thing. It's just like, I'm at a point where it's like, I want to use all that I know to inspire people to keep on putting more good out into the world. And so for me, it's like, if my perspective can help somebody learn and grow, that person can help somebody else learn and grow and offer their perspective. And since they're having that exact experience, it's like somebody that has heard a little bit from me and then they took it, they rocked with it, they made it their own, they figured it out. That person giving advice is 10 times better than Chance, because I don't experience this. So it's like, if at times, if all I can do is kind of like, you know, when the light is dead, you just spark it up a little bit. So for me, it's like, that's the stage that I'm at, trying to take a lot of the importance away from myself. I realize I did that a lot, but I'm grateful to be the person that I am, and the way I'm able to see things is amazing. And I'm not saying I take it for granted at times. I do appreciate the fact that I am who I am, but at times I think I put too much importance on myself. I was placed here to do this, and it's not on no religious stuff or anything like that. I promise you, it's just, I feel like this is my gift. And a gift is something that you're given, wherever that is. I appreciate you. I'm gonna say thank you to God, because I do believe in God, but I just didn't want to make it something that's religious or anything like that if people aren't that way. All right, so we're gonna actually hop into the actual Q&A. The first question I think I have here is how to let people you know you want them to be consistent. I'm guessing you mean consistent. How to let people know you want them to be consistent on the first day they meet you, but every day y'all are together. So I think you're trying to get us like, how do you communicate to somebody? It's like, hey, this is the energy you were giving me, and now I want you to maintain that, because it makes no sense. You introduce me to a vibe that you're not going to maintain. It's like, now it's like, I didn't have these expectations, but you placed it right in front of me. And with me not knowing so much about you, especially if this is doing stuff like that, I'm thinking this is who you are. And I think that's the issue for men and women when it comes to dating. There is this idea of, I want to impress you, or even bonds in general. It's like, at times, if you just meet somebody, you don't want them to find out the bad parts of you, but it's like, that at times helps a little more, you know, giving people the way out in case they are gonna find that down the line with you. For me, it's like, if a girl didn't like smoking at all, do you think I'm going to try to hide that? No, I'm going to put it out there right away. The moment I know you don't like something, and I may be that, I'm not going to hide that. I'm not going to try to impress you, be different. No, I'm going to put that out there. Because for me, it's like, I am who I am. And somebody who can't accept you the way you are currently is not somebody that you should build with, because that's not somebody that can help you grow. You understand that, right? Help you grow. There is a lot of people that are going to walk into your life, and they're going to tell you what to do. This is wrong. This is wrong. Like, there's criticism, and then there's help. It's very different, right? Your manager says, hey, go do this shit. And then you have a supervisor that's a little more chill. She's like, the manager be bugging sometimes. I got you. What you need to do? Oh, word, I got you. Send him on. Which one of those helps? One of them makes you feel like shit. One of them makes you feel like you have to change. And especially when you do love somebody, and it's like, some support does matter. You feel me? It's like, it does. We're not at an age where you're going to be perfect. We're not at an age where it's like everything makes sense. So it's like, if the person can't accept what's right in front of them, I just want to walk out. But back to the original question to make it more directed to what you were asking. I think in the very beginning, like first conversation or first date, first serious talk you guys get to have about this, I think the way you lay that out is kind of like you tell the person is, do not introduce me to a vibe that you can't maintain. I understand the urge to want to impress me, but I don't want to be impressed by something that I can't see every single day that I'm with you. In other words, it's like if you're going to be flaunting money, it's not an issue. Somebody is impressed by money. It is what it is. Your life, right? But you can't flaunt all this money. And it's like the girl's like, okay, this is my thing. It's okay for two people to be materialistic and be together. Let's get that the fuck out the way, right? When one person is materialistic and they don't really got money. But if two people can provide and they're materialistic, bro, there's nothing wrong with that. That just means gift giving it better be your love language. Acts of service and stuff. But yeah, for me, it's like just lay it out. It's like, I get you want to impress me. I get the urge, it's like, this is just what happens in dating. But whoever I see now, I don't want to have to adjust to a different version of you. So do not introduce me to a vibe or a personality that you cannot maintain. Don't do this shit knowing you can only last a week doing it. You're over here taking her on dates, this and that. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's not something you can maintain. It's like you can't get mad at somebody for them having expectations that you inspired. I think that's my biggest thing. Like, you really can't. You inspired because you did little shit like this. Now she started expecting it, or because she did little things like this. Now he started expecting it, and now it's like it's a little fucked up. And for me, it's like, and ladies, this is something where it's like normally most men don't speak on it because it's a sensitive topic for you guys. But I will say this, right? I understand that how sexual you are at times is dependent on how loving you are to that person, like how safe they make you feel, this and that. See how I'm putting it out there that I do get that. But one thing I will say that a lot of them don't realize is like randomly your emotions are tied to how you are sexually. And when your emotions are down, how much sex you give that man drops. Sex isn't everything. It's not all of that. But if I just sat here and say you can't introduce somebody to something you can't maintain, when you're not maintaining what he normally gets, you need to find a way to communicate why that's not happening. So in other words, if there are some things you can maintain, but you're going to have certain moments where it's not going to be there, or you're not going to be able to show up in that manner, you do owe your partner that much to just tell them like, hey, you know what? I know we normally do this, but I got to let you know this, right? Hey, babe, I know I normally bring you flowers, gifts, and everything like that every Saturday, right? But right now I'm investing a lot of my money into my future, and it's just not something I think I'll be able to maintain. Nothing changed. I still love you the exact same way, but that's just what it is for right now. I hope you're okay with that. If you pick the right one, that will always be okay, bro. I promise you. Damn. Y'all hit me with some heavy ass questions. It's like, this is why it's like I am constantly looking shit up because, bro, I'm 23. I don't go through all this shit, but I love the fact that you guys come to me because it's like I will dedicate the time to learn about it if I don't know it. And that's the thing. It's like, it may seem like a lot. At times it really is. I'll be completely fucking honest. It's not a lot where I don't like it. Oh my God, get it away. No, I love that shit. Because it's like, what's like times like a teacher's there for a reason, right? They teach you things. That's great. But the first part is they introduce you to things you do not know. And for me, I don't need a teacher. The part where I need to go out there and teach myself, I can do that very well. So you guys, y'all don't realize this. Y'all help with a lot of the shit that I'm currently learning and the person that I'm becoming. Because a lot of these things aren't things that I already know. It's not like I'm premeditating. It's like, no, I record and I come here and I actually see the questions. But at times where it's like when it's something big picture and I really don't understand it, I will give you as much as I can because I know a lot of these things are gonna get circled back to. And then now the next time I speak on it, I know something that's 10 times more deeper than the first time I was introduced to it. So you guys are like my introductions to a lot of bullshit. And then I go out there and I figure out how the shit works and then I bring it back to you guys. So I love it. But I'll actually finish reading this whole thing. How do you heal from your childhood trauma that has led to you having depression and anxiety? There's more parts to it, but then I'm gonna reply to that part just quickly. One thing I will say is if you have anxiety and depression, learn your triggers. So in other words, it's like whatever throws your emotions off course or whatever gets you anxious, learn every single one of those, right? And once you do, it will be easy for you to start backtracking and figuring out when did this start getting worse or when did this really start? Because now it's like you have a plan, you have something to follow to try to figure it out. If you're just gonna try to figure this whole shit out, like just thinking about everything that's happened, it won't happen. So a lot of it is like you have to be very precise of what it is that you're looking at in terms of like your memory and everything like that. Think about those people that you felt the saddest around. It might have been a parent, sadly, and that's the parent you loved the most. So now anytime you are in a loving situation or love is being shown to you, you might get a little anxious, so you might get thrown off course a little bit. Or like you may go back with that thought and think, do I deserve to be loved? I don't like this. A lot of people don't realize this, but giving somebody love may be a reason why they're more depressed. It's not like, oh, the love makes them depressed, but it's more so their relationship with love and that person that it stems from. So for me, it's like focus on those triggers, but you also have to be able to go back and backtrack. What is it that made it get this bad? And then go and learn. Like a big thing people just don't do is trauma from childhood. Still dealing with depression, and I'm 23. Started when I was young. You search these things up, you have answers. A lot of people, like, this is more like a gym analogy, right? But I don't see as much progress as I have seen in a year if I don't sit here and learn as much as I possibly can about my body. I know my body type. I know like what it takes for my arms to grow, my triceps. Like it's like I have to learn what this is before I can be optimal at working it out or at changing it, elevating it. Your mind is the exact same thing, but it's a lot more complicated because it plays tricks on you. So my thing is just kind of like, you don't see progress unless you go put in the work, right? Unless you learn what the fuck you need to do. You have to learn the proper form and techniques for this shit. So when you're out here battling what's in here, you're trying to develop this. You're trying to make this better. So it's the exact same shit. You want to work out your biceps? How do I get this shit bigger? Search it up. How do I tap into memories that I feel like have been hidden? Search it up. It doesn't matter. Listen, as amazing as we all are, there is not a fucking thought you have and you end up being the first person to ever have it. Genuinely. I get it. You may be an entrepreneur. You're like, nah, but this is the first person to come up with this idea. Bro, I promise you, if you look at a lot of shit, one person got credit for it, but it's never been the first person to bring it out. Trust me. So whatever it is that you're dealing with, somebody has thought about it. The answer may not be out there, but there's enough out there for you to construct it to what you want. Learn to teach yourself things that you need to be better. Mentally, physically, in every aspect of your life. The whole I don't know bullshit when somebody else out there can figure it out, that's sad. Like generally, I don't know who's listening exactly. And if you're watching this, I'm going to look directly in your eyes, right? It's like the idea that you don't know how to do something and you want to, and you just deal with it. And then for me, if I want to learn about it, I look up my phone and I search it up and I get it. Do you understand the difference between those two people? Somebody that's willing to teach himself and somebody that's just waiting for people to come around, waiting for information to just jump at them. You're going to be in these slumps a lot. Not because it's like you're going to have a bad life. Things could be great. But if you're not aware of what to do when this happens, when that happens, and you're not willing to search it up, do the research, I don't get it. Like, I hope you guys understand that is self-love. Learning how to maintain this. Learning how to take care of this. My body, right? My mind, my body, like my health, what I put in it. All of these things are forms of self-love. You not being able to deal with your emotions, you not knowing what where your anxiety and depression comes from, that's I'm not saying those experiences it means it's a lack of self-love, but your lack of attention to detail when it comes to those things is a lack of self-love. Because there's no reason why you look in the mirror and you don't remember, this isn't going how I want it to be. Whatever is not the way you want it to be, you can tweak it. It may take a while, but bro, trust me, you can tweak it. Let's go to the next one. Actually, no. She had a second part. Okay, she said, disturbing part is, I like the fact that I gave the whole drop before I even like read this next part she was about to say. She was like, disturbing part is you can't open up to anyone because your trust issues are high and people showed you why you can't trust anyone. Remember what I say? It's like a lot of these things, if they're from your childhood, it comes from a relationship you had with somebody. And the idea that people showed you why you can't trust anyone, it's always people that you had a great relationship with. Because you can be fucked over by a lot of strangers. You'll still go outside, right? A woman deal with strangers all the time, weird interactions out of this, out of that. They still go outside. They still put up with it. Because it's like, it's a chance thing, you know? It's not somebody you love or anything like that. But that's the thing. When it is somebody you love, it's hard to just say it's not on me or it's not my fault or for me to go back to that. It's like, a lot of people, it's like when things don't go right, we do blame our ability to do things, our ability to be great. You know, it's like, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe that's why I did this. So it's like, there is a lot of insecurity that does hold us back from opening up to people. One thing I'll tell you is like, there is no right or wrong answer about how to go about that. Like, start opening up to people. I think the more you learn yourself and the more you understand why this is the way it is, then you'll be able to understand that more. And learn what characteristics and people showed up when they were taking advantage of you. Learn how to protect yourself, but it doesn't mean you have to build a wall. You know, you just have to know, like, the whole goal is learning what hurts me, right? That's the whole reason why people build walls. They don't know what hurts them, so they just block off everything. I don't know what's on the other side. I'm saying fuck it. But you do want to build new bonds. You do want to build new relationships. You want to feel loved. You want to trust, and that's on the other side. So I get it. At a certain point, we all bring up our walls. But let's just say you bring up your wall just so you know you get some privacy to put on your armor. That's when you're in the lab. You're learning everything. And now once you're past that point, put down your wall. It's okay to put up your wall, you know, while you're learning yourself, while you're trying to make sure it's like, am I good to go out into the world? But eventually, go over that wall. Everything you want is on the other side. Start to learn how to trust, but know how to protect yourself. Know how to pick yourself out of a slump if you get in it. These are all things I teach myself constantly because it's like, they happen. It's part of life. It's not like, oh, you fix what's going on and then it's like, my life is better. That whole entire thing, please understand, my whole entire point, that even if you don't understand everything I was trying to say, learn yourself. Learn what makes you happy. Learn what makes you sad. And then when a lot of shit gets thrown at you and you get dropped and you find yourself in a slump, learn how to pick yourself back up. But all of that starts with learning what the fuck is happening up here. So that way when it is acting, you're not reacting, you're more so understanding what's happening. You can take a step back like, oh, this person's doing this and I'm about to probably start reacting in a certain way. Let me take myself out of it. When you learn these things, you can avoid them instead of just saying, I don't want to trust, I don't want to love, you're not going to live your whole life that way. It just doesn't make sense to me. How to stay motivated in life. Success are a blessing, but the way society keeps expecting you to keep going and what's your next move. How to balance it all without burning yourself out early. I'm tired. I feel you. Like trust me, I feel you. For me, I'm the person where it's like I'm always chasing the next thing. And I think it's like, I realized it was because I was constantly trying to prove myself. And that's the thing, when you're proving yourself, there's no stopping, there's no ending. It's like, you do this, people are like, oh, you can do this? What's that? What else can you do? You know, it's like the what else? And the more you show people your greatness at times, the more it's like, because I had this talk with my brother and it was like, I be expecting a lot out of you, but it's like, at times I have to remember, it's like, you're 23, you know? It's like, when we have conversations, at times, like, there are a lot of people in my life that have to be reminded, I'm only 23. Like, as much as we want to keep pushing and do shit, your priority is still learning you. But at times when you're constantly executing and expected to have results, at times some of that focus is taken away from those things. You invest yourself in things you know you can succeed at. Instead of things, you know, it's like, I really want to learn this. And it sucks, bro. I had to pull away from everyone at a certain point because I wasn't going to be doing anything that I was going to thrive at. I wasn't. I threw myself in a new job where I knew nothing about it. Threw myself in a class that had like a 300 level writing course. I suck at, I don't suck at writing. Let me not just throw that out there. My ability to write what's on my mind and my ability to speak it, there's a huge difference. So I went into a writing class that was hard as shit, but it was going to teach me so many different skills on how to analyze things through reading and writing. And you're not thriving. You're not doing anything. There's, if people are looking around, I might be getting a bad grade. I'm not doing this great. I'm struggling because we're reading a book a fucking week. And it's just like 300-400 pages sometimes. And by a week, this isn't fucking high school. You're in college. This is 2 days worth of fucking homework. But at a certain point, your priority isn't to perfect shit, or it's not to look for the next thing. It's to learn, because eventually we don't know what's next, but random shit is gonna get thrown at you. So try to be a person where you're all around just bulletproof. I'm not saying you're gonna get there quick, but try to get a little bit of everything in certain moments, instead of just focusing what's next. Take it easy. Tell yourself, it's like, what do I feel like I need to get better at? Stop thinking about other people and what they have to tell you. But literally, at times I used to do this. At least I used to look at a mirror and just meditate. It's not even like meditating. You just look at yourself in a mirror. The idea that you do that for 5 minutes, the thoughts starts going. And it just seems like it's meditation. And really, it is. Meditation isn't one of those things where it's like, you got to be on some Buddha namaste shit every single time. It's like, no, bro. It's just finding a moment, a quiet place where you just can think, where you're alone with your thoughts. For me, that's meditating. And what I'm saying is like, at times conversations with people, they're not going to get there because everyone is a little bit biased when they're speaking of you and what you should be doing with your life. And that's the thing, even out of love, even the wholesome parts of it, it's like, it's still not what you need. So what I'll say is like, take a step back from a lot of people that's in your life that are having these expectations for you. Because I think the expectations is the one thing that really makes it hard for us to like take a break. Like when you're constantly chasing the next thing and people get used to that. Like I'm talking about like people were like, even from my TikTok, when I pulled off to, oh, you got like 1.5, 1.7, 1.8, you had 2 mil now? Because my following was constantly increasing that drastically, now people were expecting it of me. Now, how do you think I feel when I'm not doing that? And they're asking me those questions because they were expecting it of me. It's a good expectation, but now it's like, if I don't meet that, how do you feel as a person that's always looking for the next thing? You feel like shit. I know this. So take a step back, dial into yourself and figure out what it is that you need to learn, and understand that you're good. However you are, you don't need the next thing to make you feel better. You don't need the next thing to make you feel like you're a great individual. You are an amazing person even without chasing the next thing. And chasing the next thing, it only holds on to so much love and happiness. Once you need to know what's next, what you did last doesn't help. I kind of like that. But generally, the last thing you did, it never helps once you're thinking of what's next, right? Because if it did, then you wouldn't have to constantly chase what's next, right? You could take a break and be like, hey, look at all I've done. I can take a break. See why it's not good to look at the next thing? Because it's hard to pay attention to all of the shit you've achieved. And all of this shit makes you. And from studying and learning from this, you can actually get a little better. The things you've already gone through and experienced, find a way to perfect that version of you in those situations. So sometimes it's like looking back is you taking a break to make a huge leap forward instead of, I don't know which step to take, so I'm just slowly get there. You're tiptoeing when in times you can just look back. Okay, this helps. Now use your foresight. I think this is what I need to do with that. Boom, you make a leap forward. Times taking that break helps. You know, at times you're tiptoeing. It's like, I don't know what the next step is, but I can't stop. And then you get burnt out. It's just ass. One thing I was going to say is like, this is probably might be important for a lot of people about, this is feel like a lot of people deal with this and I'm still constantly dealing with this, burning out. You can't avoid it. It's at times it just randomly happens. At times there are things in your life that just expect you to keep on pushing, because to get to the end of that tunnel, you can't take a break. There are things like that that you will come across. So when you do get burnt out, how do you deal with that? See, a lot of people try, how do I not get burnt out? And then they get burnt out. What the fuck? And now you're like, damn, well, this happened already. No, it's gonna happen. It's part of a cycle. It's part of life. So the whole idea is like learn how to deal with it. For my thing is, if I'm burnt out, guess what I'm gonna go do? I'm gonna go play some golf. It may sound dumb as shit, but it's one of those things that make me happy. Not because I play golf, but because I suck at golf. It's like me sucking at something, but then I'm getting better. I know me. I know that's one of those things that make me feel the best. Like me progressing. That's where my happiness comes from. That's why I had to take a step back and understand, why does this, I always need something next. It wasn't about what's next. It was about furthering myself in whatever path, a journey that I was currently in. And when I'm in school, the closer I get to being done, it felt a little better. When I'm learning something new, I feel like shit in the beginning. I kill myself over it. But then as I'm learning it, I start feeling happy. When it came to math problems back in high school, it was the same way. It would be hard as shit. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, nah. Especially, what was it, pre-calc? Yeah, you had too many formulas. Too many formulas to remember. And triangles mattered a little too much. No, bro. But And in me not remembering them shits, I'm great at math, but I'm not the greatest at remembering formulas. When I'm fucking things up, and then my AP calculus teacher's like, but then like, all right, don't worry, I got this. And I'm learning, I'm killing myself over it. And I'm like, I'm straight. I know this. I got this. But I think what I found in those moments was learn that thing that makes you happy, and then just don't take that for granted. There's certain things you shouldn't do too often. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize that. You enjoy this and it's amazing, but it's like, I understand the high that I can get off of it. Not like me being high, but like, you know, you're high off life, you're thriving, you're happy as shit. Clubs, right? That's not something you should take advantage of. Because at times when you do go out to club-like sceneries and you're with your best friends that you like to party and drink with, bro, you feel great. But if you're doing that shit 24/7, that time where you're burnt out and you need to tap into something that's helpful, it's not. So the thing is, it's like, have things you do normally to maintain your journey. So for me, that's things like having to watch a movie towards the end of the day or something like that. A movie where I don't touch my phone, just to not be overstimulated 24/7, because I know my attention is constantly being yanked in places. So for me, as I'm not when I'm burnt out, but me avoiding a burnt out, it's me like having those alone time. I do this for myself. It's like, I'll go in the gym. This is the thing, right? A lot of people say, oh, you can go in the gym. Are you trying to be a bodybuilder? You're going to compete. I know I'd be going crazy on my shit, but no, I'm telling you, progression makes me happy. So I have something in my life that I am constantly progressing at, no matter what else happens. So have your little thing that you can maintain, that no matter what happens and everything that's falling apart, you're like, this keeps me centered. Find that thing that makes you centered. So whenever bullshit's getting thrown at you, you wobbling and shit, you get to stay a little steady with that one thing. I promise you, there are times where everything is going to shit. I go to the gym and I lift some heavy ass weights. I'm good. And it's not like, oh, go to therapy. Bro, I dedicate time to my thoughts. But at times you don't need to always do that. You need to just get out there and do some shit. Don't fall into patterns that get you burnt out and then that get you depressed. I feel like a lot of people get burnt out and depression kicks right in, because a lot of those patterns of being burnt out, it does resemble people being depressed. Not for everyone, but the idea is like, I'm burnt out. I don't want to deal with nobody. I want to stay back. I want to stay in my house. I want to stay in my bed. I don't want to see the sunlight. What does that sound like? It sounds like a person that's burnt out, yes. But it also sounds like somebody that's going through depression, doesn't want to deal with people. Your body doesn't always understand the two unless you focus on those thoughts that it's having on its own. So it's like, you can't try to be a different person or try to be a different version of yourself and then tap into the same habits. You being depressed makes you do this. Now you're an amazing person, but you're burnt out and you're doing this. You're not that far away from it. All right. Well, if you're in your 30s and you listen to this, you might have separated those two well enough for like to be some time where your body was like, I bet I know what this means now. We're straight. We're not depressed. We're just a little tired. But give your body some time to recognize it. Even if you know it, your body reacts to what's happening. So take your time. Also, how to be okay with being alone. Learning the right things to do when you're alone so you don't feel lonely and you feel like you're in solitude. You feel like it's peace. When you're by yourself, it is a gift. It is not some shit where I'm stuck at home by myself. I used to look at it like that until I started getting a life where I'm just busy as shit, constantly doing things. And now it's like, I'm screaming for a long time, but I used to run away from it. It's because I didn't know how to be alone. A lot of us do not know how to be alone. Let's be honest. Okay, you're by yourself. What do you do? For fun. What do you do for fun? Go, no, in your house without utilizing technology, anything. Do something. Do something for yourself. A lot of us don't. We surround ourselves with a shit ton of people that at times know a thing or two about themselves. And the collective amount of those things, it's great because you have access to a lot of shit you could be doing. Oh, what do we do? All right, let's go to the club. All right, well, fuck it. You get those ideas and you just tap into it. You just lean into it. But now when it's time for you to do it by yourself and nobody's investing into those thoughts or plans, you're fucked because you don't know what to do. My thing is learn yourself well enough, even if you have to do weird shit. You want to know what's my new thing? Hiking. Oh my God. I got a little chair in the back of my car constantly if I'd ever want to randomly go on a hike. I got a chair, I'll just sit in a random forest, right? Just sit in a random trees and it's like, I'm just looking up thinking. It works for me. I don't, bro, a lot of people don't like that. Especially people where I come from, they shit on things like this. But it works for me, so I don't give a fuck. So that's also the thing is like, as you're learning what works for you, A lot of it won't work for the people around you. And a lot of people will shit on it, but I'm happy. So it's like, it doesn't really fucking matter to me. How do you I think I'll just stop at this one. How do you develop yourself professionally without losing through all the grind, throughout all the work and grind? Constant reminders of yourself is a big thing for me. And I think when I'm saying reminders for yourself, it's not just like what you're trying to get to, right? It's like, this is who I am currently, and this is what we're trying to develop into. And I think when you do start saying that to yourself, it's like, you need to understand how you get from point A, the version you are currently, to point B, the version you're trying to be. This doesn't go away. Version A doesn't just go away as you're trying to get to version B. You learn how to transpire version A into version B. So it's like, you don't really lose shit if you focus on this needs to become that, right? It's not this needs to be completely erased out the picture. I got to change this shit completely. You're working, you're grinding to develop a better you. You're not changing. You can't. This is one of the things I feel like a lot of people don't understand. You're not going to get rid of everything that you are. The shitty parts, the great parts, not a lot of them are just going to stay. But when you learn how to make it work for yourself, then it starts being part of like a beautiful system that works. A lot of it is like we have a lot of broken pieces in that version A. Version B just knows how the clock starts working, you know, how it starts turning. But if a lot of those things aren't in the right places, it won't. But a lot of it's like just making sure those things get into place, and then you add more to it, to what's needed. You develop those things a little bit more. But you shouldn't lose yourself as you're grinding. The goal is a better you, not a different you. But a lot of us don't love ourselves that much to understand the fact that you're just bettering yourself. You don't have to change everything about yourself, even the shitty parts. Trust me, there is beauty in some of those things if you learn how to make them work. And it's okay if you dive into something, you start trying to process what this is like, and you're like, this is something I have to leave in the back. But at least explore it first before you just say, I don't want to be this anymore. Because a lot of the times that's based off the environment you're in and the people you're around. You change those, you would actually be in love with this. So learn why you don't like certain parts of yourself outside of people and where you currently are. That was a great one. Me and my boyfriend went on our separate ways a few days ago due to him saying that he's not financially stable for a relationship. I stated that we don't always have to go out. Then he proceeds to says a statement, right person, wrong timing. Does that statement statement means what it means, or is this something totally different? Sorry if that didn't make any sense. I'm glad you said that, because now I have validation that it wasn't just me just fucking this shit up. But no, I completely get what you mean. One thing I'll say about men, we don't feel the greatest when we're not in a good place financially, because the world tells you you're supposed to do things. You're supposed to go out there and provide and be this and that. No man thinks of a family. He thinks the woman's going to provide everything. At least I haven't come across that man. You know, whoever he is, good luck with women in today's generation. But yeah, my thing is just like, a man's emotions are tied to his ego. And a man's ego is tied to his finances. I'm not saying those things are a straight line. Other things apply. But what I just said is a real thing. So it's like, if our ego isn't where it needs to be, and when I say the word ego, please don't think of like egotistical shit, right? Somebody can have an ego and it's like, it's an ego you work for. So then you're chilling. Like, I'm very cocky with certain things, very confident with certain things, but there are things I fucking worked for. And I know I have a reason to be confident in them. So for a man, when he has a craft and he works on that, he develops it, he's getting paid for it. That's where the ego taps in. You make a lot of money now. I'm the shit. But a lot of men, it's just like, the money is a representation of we're doing good. It's really not just, I want to have the most amount of money in the world, but to feel like something that I'm supposed to do isn't happening, and because of that, I can't do other things. It's a hard thing for a man to walk away from. Like, the idea is like, I want to take you out on dates. I want to do this and that. It's not about the fact that it's an expectation. Some men generally, they want to do those things, and unless they can't, they just don't want to. And I get it, what you may think, the idea of building, why can't we build together, this and that. Most men will never tell you this, but that is not something that a lot of them can trust. It's a lot to trust a woman to stay with you as you're going through the ups and downs, when you constantly see on social media men that are capable of tapping into those things. And at times, I'll be honest, I haven't really always been with women that could always express just what it is that they loved and admired about me. So it was easy to think, when I'm not this full picture that I brought in front of you the first time, you may walk away and see something different. A lot of men think like this. I promise you. They won't ever tell a woman this, but I promise you, they do. And some men just don't. And this is just the wholesome man, right? Some men just, it's like, if my life is not where it needs to be, I don't want to be in a relationship. I don't want to have that distraction. I don't want to have somebody nagging me while I'm over here stressing over bread. So at times it's like, most men aren't used to the right partner that can help them build. So they just don't want to tap into that, because they know this isn't a version of themselves that they really want, or even to trust with somebody else. So we have an amazing guest here, and I'm going to actually tune into the next episode. I want to say for this Q&A, I love you guys. And I think the theme that I constantly seen was, a lot of you guys are progressing, but you don't have the right direction, and you're looking for guidance. As much as I can be that for you, I don't want to keep on being that for you. What I provide shouldn't be what you need. It should be a want. And trust me, this is coming from me as the person that has access to this information. So if I'm telling you this, trust me, I know a lot, trust me, but you can get to this point where you don't need somebody else to tell you shit or how to break things down, that. Just constantly learn this vessel that you've been placed in. Learn how it functions, so that way you can be the greatest at functioning it without other people telling you what to do. I shouldn't know how to be a better version of you than you. Same reason why certain people say it's like, you shouldn't let a white person teach you your history. I'm not saying there's anything that stems in that, but if you understand what people are trying to communicate when they say that, it's nothing about, oh, white people did this, they shouldn't teach you. But no, it's more so, it's like, this is your history, and it's like, there's certain things you just need to learn on your own, and not from somebody that may have a level of bias. That's what they're trying to get at. So that's all I'm using that phrase to communicate. Learn you, learn how to operate, learn how to grow, learn how to pick yourself up. Whatever you don't know, that's your guide to be better. You can't not know something and then learn something new and not have been a better version of yourself. See? You don't really need much guidance. Just add on more to yourself. Learn more. At times we're so stressed about making it make sense. But you don't have access to enough for it to make sense yet. Even I don't. And I feel like I know a lot of shit, but you won't get there. Just take your time, be patient with yourself, and do not beat yourself up when you're not where you think you should be. You're exactly where you need to be if you don't stop. So the thoughts that drown you, that make you feel shit about yourself, they don't help. And clearly this isn't something that you want. So learn how to channel different thoughts that push you instead of drown you. I like that. So I'm gonna just leave it off on that. You know, when you drop something on fire, you just got pow. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening to A Chance to Strive. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your week. Whenever you're listening to this, just give me a little smile. You know, just a little smile real quick. I'm smiling right now through the phone. Even if you were just listening to me, just give yourself a smile. Just fake it enough to learn how to make it real sometimes, you know? Type shit. I love y'all. Be safe.